Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois, and I just realized that I scheduled this live stream for 2 o'clock. So hopefully I didn't mess everybody up. You know, it's Monday, right? I'm just messing up the week left and right. Still kind of like mentally, energetically wise. Does that make sense? Catching up from last week where I did have a lot of running and also had my family in town. My parents were here. So just a lot of stuff going on. Still trying to catch up. Clearly, I'm still messing it up. But for those of you who are here, thank you. Those of you listening on the podcast, on the audio only version, hopefully this was no different for you at all because you're watching it way after the fact that the live stream goes up. But either way, hopefully you're having a good run. And everyone watching this on YouTube, not live, but after the fact, welcome to you guys as well. Again, hopefully this shouldn't impact you. Just the people that I head faked on accident with the 2 p.m. start. We're actually starting at 1. Sorry about that. Yeah, I know. Let's see. We already got people in chat here. Frank says he was 24 seconds off. Yeah, so, sorry about that. I know. JC wants to know if it's the right time. This is the right time, 1 p.m. I just labeled it incorrectly in how I started the stream, but I'm glad that you guys were able to find it. Other thing that I'll make for as a note is that my wife has said that the internet has been weird for her all morning. I didn't experience any of that, but I didn't really use too much of the internet this morning, so I don't know, but hopefully we won't run into any issues today. We got a lot to talk about. Berlin Marathon, records were set, smashed even, if you want to call it that. 3 records that I can think of. And then it's also Monday, so it's a mukbang today. I've got Betty Lou's fruit bars. These don't look like runner food to me, and it says on the top, kids love them. So I'm not sure, but I got it at my kind of like running food supply store that I like to go to. So I feel like if it's sold there, it's running food. If it's small and calorie dense, it's runner food. So we'll give it a try. I got 5 different flavors here today. I'll try to randomize them in no particular order and we'll get through them. But yes, this is the right time. All right, let's see who we got in the chat. We got Innes here as well. It says, hi, Kapoozing, everybody. Just in from 10 miles out and back to the Bothie with Pip along the coast. It was wild out there. I can imagine, and as it must be getting weather-wise pretty interesting for you, because I know here in the Midwest, when we're landlocked from oceans, the seasons changing does bring quite a bit of weather tumultuousness. I can only imagine. I remember growing up on the East Coast, but I can only imagine where you are. The weather impacts you pretty substantially there. Oh, Frank says in terms of his prediction, he says I was 24 seconds off from his Kipchoge prediction. Yeah, Kipchoge, let's talk about that. Kipchoge came in at what, 201, 201.09, right? I think, would you have 201.30? Is that what you said? Or did you say 2 hours and 30? You said 2 hours, 35 seconds, something like that? Yeah, that's just an absolutely unbelievable time. And always it looks like he's jogging it in, when in fact he's running at what would probably be my 400-meter race pace right now. So yeah, he's just amazing. Frank said his initial prediction was 201.33. Yeah, I was one of the doubters for sure. I was like, I don't know. Will he? It's like everyone's like listing as a foregone conclusion that he's gonna win, but I'm not even sure he's gonna win. Is what I was thinking. I didn't say that. I did think that. I will admit that I thought that. But 201.09. The crazy thing is, I didn't watch the feed, but I may bite the bullet and buy like a 1-month subscription to FlowTrack because I do want to watch London next week too. I should have just bought it. That I didn't realize that London would also have a hard time watching it, but yeah, I didn't watch it, but from what I understand, Kipchoge was not by himself at the half marathon mark. So, there's potential for like the next kind of group of guys to come through, Stevie76 says Ben Parks was doing a gear check and selling merch while running a 253. That's pretty awesome. It's kind of like that DC Rainmaker video. I don't know if you saw him do that one race with it was an electric bike race where he did an ad read at like threshold pace. Pretty amazing. But yeah, it's good. I'm glad that he had a good race. I don't know if 253 is what he would consider a great race for him. That'd be fantastic for me. But I know he's had some ups and downs this year. CR says, hi, everyone. Good to be back at the live streams. Good to see you again, CR. That's a beautiful picture of paddleboarding on your photo there. JC says he's eating candy corn. Fall is officially here. That's like kind of disgusting. I can't stand candy corn. Although there is like a new candy corn that's out there that's different colors. It's not like the orange, yellow, white. There's another color that's more caramelly. It's like a darker color one. I like that one better. That one I don't mind. I mean, Sean Devlin says, hey, everyone. Ran my last 20 miler before work this morning. Tired now, but hey, made it to the taper. Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, I ran my last 20 miler Saturday. And then yesterday I was going to run some more, and I was like, I could take a break. We also had a fire. That fire pit finally arrived, so we were up late last Saturday evening too. And so I was like, Sunday seems like a good day to rest. But yeah, I can't imagine going to work after a 20 miler. I would not be that productive, I'll tell you. Brett Reed's back. He says, hi, all. Finally able to catch a live stream. Sorry if it's been asked or discussed. Are you going to get the Apple Watch Ultra? I probably eventually will get the Apple Watch Ultra. But I'm going to wait till it gets colder because I don't want to test it when it's fall. I want to test it when it's like, Arctic temperatures. When we get a polar vortex coming through here, that's when I'll test it. All right. We need a cowbell for Wilfredo. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. No, that's not it. I thought someone said that they had a cowbell. Let me see if I can find it. All right. If anyone had a PR from the weekend, let me know. Put it in the chat again. I missed it. JP says, what's up, everyone? First run of the New Balance 3s, and I set a 5K PR even after yesterday's long run. Digging the shoes. I'm assuming you mean which 3s? Oh, Nova Blast 3s. I was like, New Balance? Nova Blast 3s. Nice work. 5K PR. Excellent job, JP. Love to hear it. Good work. Terry says, can't you see the BBC in America via the iPlayer? Yeah, I don't think that there's a way in the US to see it. I think I have BBC on my cable package, but I don't know how to watch it other than signing up for FlowTrack. That's my understanding, the only way you could do it. Unless I did some sort of VPN kind of thing. I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm not able to. So Shannon says, hi, Co-Famzy. What's going on, Shannon? And Scott Stroll says, I am tapering for Chicago starting today. Awesome. Excellent. And Adam said, I am as well. Although it feels weird to taper after only 2 weeks of work, but I don't know. Maybe I can get used to this. We'll see how I do. Adam says, no candy corn, no pumpkin spiced anything. Yesterday we actually had pumpkin flavored raviolis from Trader Joe's. Apparently, so my wife is very involved in a lot of Facebook groups for allergy moms, and like the allergy moms have put together a list of all the pumpkin flavored things at Trader Joe's that are safe for peanut allergy kids. And so we made a big trip to Trader Joe's and bought everything that was safe for her to eat. And yesterday was pumpkin ravioli. I thought that was delicious. I love to eat squash in ravioli, and the pasta itself was also like an orangey color. So I thought it was great. The kids did not like it at all. All right. Frank says, my feelings about the Carbon X1 were exactly what you described for the Carbon X3, just not exciting. Yeah, that video went out today for this shoe, Carbon X3. You could tell I'm even wearing the same shirt because that's what I was wearing when I filmed that video this morning, and the shoes are still here. Hold on, let me plug in. I'm running out of battery. But I talk about it in the video, but I think I'm plugged in. Yeah, okay. But I talk about it in the video, but it's just like, it started out really exciting, and I was like, this is going to be great. A knit upper, an X3 that's actually a bit soft. This is going to be great. And then after 4 runs, I was like, I don't know if it's me or other new shoes have come out. I don't know what it was. It just wasn't like something I was like, I can't wait to try that, So I don't know. I really want to like that shoe. It looks great, but I don't know. There's something about it. I don't get very excited about the Carbon X3. All right. Let's start getting into some of this fruit bar for today. First one we're going to try is blueberry. Blueberry Betty Lou's fruit bar. Kids love them. I think they're all non-GMO, vegan, and gluten-free. Some of them are gluten-free, and some of them are gluten-free certified. And I think that the only difference, like if you look down here, there's that gluten-free certified label. This one, right? Here, they don't have that little GF thing on there. And I think it's probably just a difference in packaging. Because I think this one is the only one. This one, all of them have the phrase "kids love them" on it. This one doesn't have that on it. This does have so I just think that's just packaging, maybe. But we'll start with the blueberry fruit bar. As far as some of the stats on it, 200 calories per bar. That's a good amount if you're having a solid food snack on the run. 90 milligrams of sodium, 42 grams of carbs, and some potassium, 1 gram of protein. So, yeah, a little bit of sodium, a little bit of electrolytes, a lot of sugar. What does it look like? It looks kind of like a giant Fig Newton smushed together. Like the camera's having a hard time picking this up, understanding what it is. So it's like this, kind of like smells really blueberry. Smells nice. This is good. The crust tastes like a pie crust. It's cold, like room temperature, so that's not good, but the blueberries are delicious. The filling is really good. It tastes like pie. But it's not like wet, like a pie would be wet. Or you know those hand pies, those Hostess ones that they sell at like a gas station and stuff that are like super liquidy, made out of like that fruit in a can stuff? It's not like that. It's really good. There's like a hint of lemon in here too. That's not obnoxious. This is really tasty. I think this is the first runner's food that I think I would actually prefer if I had it in like my running vest and it was like body temperature warmed up before I ate it. I think that'd actually be really, really nice. All right. Andrew says, what's going on, Andrew? Says, I'm into my last week of taper for the Mo Cowbell. 10-2. And have the taper madness big time. Feel good about the block. 620 plus milers. Hitting faster times than ever in speed, tempo, and threshold work. All right, man. Andrew, sounds good. Sounds like you're ready. Don't mess it up in the taper now. Just get rested, but not too much. But good luck to you. Man, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Sober Gummy says, I'm running the Marine Corps Marathon, 10:30, and the taper cannot come soon enough. 4 straight weeks of 19 milers. I'm exhausted. There you go. See, that's how I'd rather feel going into a taper. You know, I've been doing like a 2-week taper, although still doing a medium-sized workout about 10 days out. So I'll still probably on Wednesday do like a threshold workout, but it'd be like my first threshold workout of this entire block. So I don't know. It's weird. It's not really a taper, but I'm just trying to like get in a right level of fitness for running what I need to run. So we'll see. But yeah, 10:30. You still got a couple more weeks. No cut down weeks in there for you? I don't usually do cut down weeks very well, so I can understand if you don't. But yeah, maybe there's a cutback week this week, and then like maybe 2 more weeks of work. Does that sound about right? Preslav Sodorov says, I had a 6K PR of 2043. Awesome work. That's speedy. I don't know what that converts to in miles. Yeah, Frank's like, Preslav, you had a 6K race? Yeah, I don't know either. Will Gravel says, I can finally see the forecast for Chicago and is looking good. I say I only have 10-day access. I know you could pay more in some apps to get to 14 days. But I think that here's the thing that's always tricky for Chicago Marathon weather is that Chicago can tend to sometimes be hot. And I think the main reason for that, I'm not a meteorologist, but I think my main reason for thinking that is that it's at the tail end of hurricane season. And so this week, a hurricane the hurricane that's going to hit Florida soon, by the way. Anyone in Florida, I hope you're going to be okay. And then I know people in Canada were also affected. People in Puerto Rico also affected. Hope you guys are okay. But there's another one coming through this week. And I think the remnants of that are going to still be big enough to create a warm pocket of air for this weekend, London Marathon weekend, but in Chicago. And so depending on what happens after that hurricane goes through or where exactly that hurricane goes through, that'll tell us more of what exactly kind of weather we're going to have. So I think we got to, right now, I'll definitely 10 days out. As soon as I can start seeing it, I'll definitely start telling everybody what the weather forecast is. But until we really see what happens after this weekend, then I think, that it's really, really extra unpredictable. So hopefully it's right. Hopefully it is pretty mild. I'd rather have warm and not humid than chilly and humid. The humidity is what kind of really throws people off. JC said, had a PR as a half marathon pacer yesterday. Awesome. His first time pacing, 2:05 goal, and we were a little too fast. Awesome. That's a great cowbell. Speaking of pacing, did anyone run the Chicago half yesterday? The Hoka Chicago half? Apparently, it was half a mile short. How do you be a half mile short? That kind of mistake hasn't happened since the 3 times the Milwaukee Marathon did it. But that's crazy. That's absolutely wild to me. So far, no one seems super upset, at least from anyone that I've seen on social media. Maybe it's because a high percentage of those people are going to be running Chicago in a couple weeks anyway. And so you're like, I wasn't racing. So I don't know, but it seems super, super weird. All right, let's go to the next flavor. We're going to do apricot. Let's see. I'm going to say the numbers are probably pretty similar. 3 grams of fat, 190 calories, 41 carbs, 95 milligrams of salt, some calcium, 1 gram of protein. No potassium in this one, though. That's interesting. I wonder why there's no potassium. Maybe because this is a different packaging, different formula. I don't know. Again, looks just like a giant fig bar. It's not crumbly or crummy, which is I was worried about it. If you like apricot, it smells great. This is good. This is really nice. The ingredient list says for the apricot filling, it's fruit juice concentrate, pineapple, apple, peach, and pear. And then there's apricots in it. This is good. I like this texture better than a fig bar. It's kind of like a Nutri-Grain bar, really. That one's good. JP says, what are your tips for increasing cadence? Current average around 160. Not sure what to do other than just run faster. I would say work on some drills, especially the drills that help you focus on picking your foot up and putting it straight down. So high knees, butt kicks, those kinds of drills will help you in terms of your mechanics and form. And so you're putting the way I think I took a lot of piano lessons growing up. So the way I think about drills is like when you're approaching a new piece of music, you practice like your right hand and your left hand separately, small chunks at a time, until you kind of master those, get the muscle memory, and then you can put it back all together. So running drills, I think, are the same way, especially if you have a workout. Do the running drills immediately before the hard work. So if it's like 2-mile warm up, running the workout and then a 2-mile cool down, run the 2-mile warm up, do your pre-workout mobility, 2-mile warm up, do some drills, and then right into the hard work. And that kind of gets the muscle memory going. So that's what I would recommend. The other thing I would think about is a lot of times I feel like people messing with their cadence is a little bit of the cart in front of the horse. Work on your drills, for example, work on your strength, work on increasing your mileage, and then the cadence will kind of change itself, I think, my opinion. Tracy Smith says, hi, all. Finished my run yesterday on Columbus. Banners are up for the marathon. Almost feeling a little excited. It's an exciting time. We're 2 weeks in. It's a great time to be a runner. And I feel like the nice thing about Chicago is that like you get the benefit of like we get to see Kipchoge's marathon run. We got to see the women's marathon record also fall. The Canadian women's national record also fell in Berlin. We got some fun racers going into the London Marathon this week, so I'm excited to see that. Although I just heard Bridget Kosgei has just withdrawn from London. That's a bummer. I was excited to see what she could do. So I'm sure we'll hear a lot more scratches in the next couple of days as we're now 1 week in from London. But then you get to see Berlin, London, and then it's finally Chicago's turn. So I'm getting pretty excited about it. All right. Oh, a lot of PRs from this weekend. Eliza says, "Hey, co-fam, PR this weekend for me, 99 hours and 58 minutes for a 50-mile trail race with 3,900 feet of elevation. Got to take home second place female. Yay. Congratulations. That's a double bell. Because I thought you were saying it was 9 minutes and 58 seconds. I was like, what? That's a short race. And then it was 50-mile trail race. Oh, okay. This is hours we're talking about. That's incredible. Incredible. Great work. Melvin Umake says, yo, what's going on, co-fam? While I'm reading this, I'm going to start opening the apple pie flavored fruit bar from Betty Lou's. Can you explain how the Pacers are lined up for Chicago 26.2? I understand it could take 20 to 30 minutes across the start line. So are there multiples of each finish time per corral? Yes. Not all the start times are in all the corrals, but like going from like corral A to corral B, for example, I think there will be everything from like 3:15, as slow as 3:15 in corral A, and as fast as like 2:55 or 3 hours in corral B. So like there's some overlap in both of those. So here we go. Here's the apple pie. Smells really nice and appley. Smells like a McDonald's apple pie. That extra like sugary cinnamony flavor. This one tastes a little dry. Maybe because in my mind I just put a McDonald's apple pie. It's still good. This one tastes a little bit more like a granola bar. The other one tasted like pie. I don't know if there's nutmeg in here. That's really strong relative to the apples or what. But this one tastes more like a granola bar. But it's still really good. 3 for 3. These are good flavors. Will says, "Different time never feels as good as I hope it will. LOL. Just 13 more days for me till Chicago." Yeah, well, I mean, if it always feels terrible for you, then don't worry. Everything's normal. you know? So that's kind of how I feel about that. I still don't know that I've really nailed what a taper is, but I think maybe I'm starting to think you got to do each taper differently. You can start out with a general framework, but then like adjust day by day, see how good you're feeling or not feeling and see what needs working on, I'm Matt Bader says, "Hey, Co, where do you get your marathon training plan? Not sure when one follows or to create one based on several choices." I kind of wing it at this point because I know like there's a handful of workouts that like I really respond to. But a lot of it is borrowed heavily from Jack Daniel's running formula. I think that's the name of the book, the Jack Daniel's book. He has that's where I get that's where I like derive a lot of my threshold workouts. And my kind of approach has been to just, when I'm marathon training, a lot of threshold workouts and long runs with marathon effort in it. And that's pretty much it. Maybe in the way beginning of a training block, I might do some more 5K pace kind of stuff, but not a lot. And then the closer we get to the marathon, the more I'm focusing on marathon pace. So it goes from way faster to marathon pace, depending on how far away we are. That's generally my approach. And I think that's pretty much Jack Daniel's approach too. I could be misquoting him, I guess, but that's what I think. Sean Marshall says, I have to shamelessly self-advertise. I PR'd a half marathon on Saturday. Awesome. Previous PR was 13 years ago. I was 22 years old. That's amazing, Sean. I think I saw some posts from you over the weekend, racing in Utah, right? Well, that was a pretty good, some pretty good scenery I think you guys had there. Saul Martinez says, hello, all down here in Florida. No running in the coming days. Hurricane Ian's fault. Yeah, stay safe out there, Saul. Because it looks like it's going to, at least when it hits Florida, it's going to hit pretty hard. Yeah. In my previous life, when I did a lot of work, we did some hurricane related litigation. So I had to learn a lot more about hurricanes in Florida and wind-driven rain than I ever have wanted to. But hopefully you won't have to learn about any of that. So, although if you've been there for a long time, you already know. But be safe. AJE says, the Twin Cities Marathon is this weekend. Can't wait. Oh, that's awesome. I wonder if Ben Johnson's running it. I have to reach out to him, see what he's up to. Midlife Runner says, yo, what's going on? With a whole bunch of emojis. Says, Coach, do you know your max heart rate? If so, what is your marathon pace heart rate usually at? Thanks. Love the content as always. I don't know like a lab result for max heart rate. So what a lot of people say is like, you know, something that your heart actually sustains for like 3 to 5 seconds. Not like if it like spikes, but like more of a sustained heart rate during a 5K is like a good, like later into a 5K is a good example of what your max heart rate is. And I've always thought mine was like around 181, but the last 5K that I ran, I feel like it sustained a little bit higher towards like 183, maybe 185. I don't know. For my, so I'm somewhere in the low 180s. I don't think it really matters that much. It's just a couple of beats here and there. But my marathon heart rate, I usually shoot to be around 165, at least for like the first 20 miles. After that, you know, you're just struggling. I don't really care about what the heart rate is after that because you're giving what you can give. But for the first like 20 miles, I like to try to stay between like at about 165, even better if I'm lower. If I'm a little higher, it starts to concern me. Sometimes I'll accidentally find myself in the 170s. And then, you know, it's like, all right, well, if a marathon race, or I think this analogy or metaphor gets used more in triathlons, but, you know, if an event is a book of matches, you know, if you spend a little bit of time in the 170s, for me, during a marathon, even if it feels good, that's a couple of matches burnt, you know, and you only got a couple more left. So that's kind of where I keep it at. So what's that, like 15% off 85% of max heart rate? Is that right? No, it's like 10. It's like 10% off of max heart rate. 181 minus 18. That puts me at like, yeah. So like 90% of max heart rate. I don't know if that's right or not, but that seems to be something that I can sustain. You know, I shoot for 165, but I think if I average it out, it's probably closer to 163 overall, depending on the highs and lows that I experience during a race, I guess. Keith C says he had a 4-minute exactly PB on a half marathon on Saturday, running a 1:58:48. Awesome. That's nice. 4 minute. That's good. Because like I feel like a 4-minute, a big multi-minute PB is great, but a 4-minute PB is much better than a 3:59 PB. You know what I mean? So good job. I like that. Luis Becerra's here. What's going on, Luis? Good to see you again. Sean says for his race, it was 0.02 short, and Strava won't list it as my PR. That's funny. Frank said for the Chicago half, he says he thinks that the city made them move the finish line. Even if the city makes you move the finish line a half mile short, that's crazy. Really crazy. Eric's here. He says, howdy, y'all. Ducking in for a few moments before office hours begin. Nice. Melvin Umang asking a follow-up on the corral question. I'm in corral E, and I want to run a sub 325. Does that mean they'll be ahead of me or behind me? I'm not sure, Melvin, exactly where it'll be, but if you're in one of those kind of like bubble time pace groups that'll be in both. I think surely there will be a 325 group ahead of you. Whether there'll be one behind you, I'm not sure. But like when I've run like the 3-hour pace group or the 3-hour 10 pace group in Chicago, I don't think I've ever been in Corral A for Chicago. I've always been in Corral B. But in Corral B, there is a 3-hour pace group that's ahead of me, and there's also a 3-hour pace group that's behind me. You know what I mean? So like there's multiple. So like sometimes people will get like maybe have to step off the course to go to the bathroom at a porta potty or something like that, or stopping to tie their shoes, and they'll catch up to the wrong pace group, and then they get kind of messed up for the rest of their race. So make sure you know what your pacers look like in case you ever have to get separated from your group. But there are I mean, it's a big enough race, but that there are multiple pace groups, especially for some of the more popular times. Basically everything from like 4 hours to like 3:10, there's multiple pace groups. All right, I'm way behind you guys in the chat. Sorry about that. Frank says, when I'm trained up, my marathon heart rate is almost the same as my map. See, I would love that. I would love it if I could say that. But yeah, that's it. My map tone number is 143 now, I think, because I'm getting older. And most of my easy running is way below that. I'm usually in the high 130s for my easy running. I like to try and get it lower if I can, but it's not always. So my marathon heart rate is a lot higher. My threshold heart rate is like 173 and up. And then my 5K base is like, my max heart rate is like 181, 183, something like that. Melvin says, I applied to move from Corral E to Corral D before the deadline, but I never got a reply, so I guess I have to stay put. If the pacer I need is in D, how do I get to them? I would say just relax, and then you can slowly catch up to them over time. You got 26 miles. You know what I mean? As long as you can see them, which you will be able to see them from where you are, you just know that that's like your distance that you got to cover. You know, and I usually like to stay a little bit back from the flag and keep it ahead of me, because I find it much easier when I'm running in a group to chase the group than it is to stay in the middle of it. That's always distracting. Part of it's because I usually run with a selfie stick, so I don't want to be in the middle of a pack. But so I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you're very concerned about it, you can go to there's usually like guest services or whatever it's called, like race services, where you can go and see if you can get a corral change. But like I wouldn't really worry about it too much. All right, another flavor, blackberry. This one like smells like blackberries. I'm not a huge blackberry fan. My kids like them. Smells like candy. This is really nice. It's like fancy grape in here. This is good. I think blueberry is my favorite. This may be my second favorite. It's really good. It's strong though. It's getting a little tart at the end. But blueberry, really good. JC said, it was mentioned at the start. Did you see Alien's bottle guy? Yeah, Bottle Klaus. Isn't that his name? Klaus? That guy's awesome. I don't know how Elliot met him the first time, but I think the last time he ran Berlin, or 2 times ago he ran Berlin, I guess, he had Bottle Klaus. The guy had to hustle on his bike to keep up. I don't think everyone gets a bike guy. I don't even know how that works. And I'm also not sure how that's like world record legal. Because I thought that you couldn't, I mean, his bottle guy is not on a bike when he's giving him the bottle. But if he were on a bike and giving him the bottle, that would disqualify him from being world record eligible. I don't know if that would disqualify. I think it would disqualify him from the Berlin Marathon too. It'd be against the rules. But the guy, it's the same guy, all 8 bottles that I'm assuming Elliot takes 8 Martin bottles, but all the 8 bottles. And he just super excited, takes the job very seriously, as he should, and super excited every time there's a successful handoff. I feel like it's the old marathoners version of when you see people on TikTok, like, and they have like all the pots from their kitchen lined up, and it's like you hit the ping pong balls, like ding, 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 and it lands in a glass of water. That like feeling that you get when it finally hits all the pots just right and lands in the water. That's how I feel like how that guy feels when he does a handoff successfully to Elliot. But who wouldn't feel that way? I mean, I'd be terrified. I don't think I'd probably celebrate because I'd just be like, oh, goodness, I'm glad I didn't mess that one up. 4 more to go, So I'm glad that he's excited. But I'm also super intrigued because, there's footage of him doing all the bottle handoffs. And I think it's because all the bottle guys are putting GoPros on their heads, on their helmets, for their bike helmets, And so is Elliot's bottle guy. I want to see the footage from that GoPro, Like, I don't know who has it. If the running team has it, or Nike has it, or whose it is, or if it's just Klaus's own YouTube page. Does anyone know if Klaus is on YouTube? Like, I want to see. I want to see what that is. All right. Let's see. Brian Free says, the Chicago participant guide suggests arriving nearly 2 hours before your corral time. This seems a bit extreme to me, as you've run this several times before. How early do you suggest? Get there really early. One, because of bathrooms. We talked about it before. And I'll make one for next week. My top Chicago marathon tips, like 10, maybe not 10. I'll just call it top tips, and we'll see how many I get to. The corrals close, I want to say 15 minutes before the race starts, like the first gun goes off. And I think wave 2 and wave 3 are different, or I don't know if they're colors or what. But the other waves might be a little bit different in terms of when the corrals close. But I'm usually in corral B, and that corral closes very early. So you can't be like, all right, race starts at whatever. It starts at 7, let's say. Race starts at 7. I don't want to be waiting there too long. So maybe around 6:45, I'll start getting in there, and I'm waiting for 10 minutes. It's not like that. You got to be in there at 6:45. Otherwise, you have to wait all the way to the end of your wave, which I think is like corral F or something like that. So, so you want to get to your corral on time, and the bathrooms will get very long. And so you got to plan for that too. If you're the type that likes to go to the bathroom twice, which I am before a race, get in that line. Yeah, and you're basically like going to the bathroom, getting out back into line again, and then you'll go to the bathroom a second time. So, yeah, that is what I would suggest to get there. There's security. They'll check your bags as you go through. The earlier you get there, the better. And then if you want to do bag check, bag drop off is very quick. It's very efficient. But there's a long amount of distance that you're going to have to travel. You'll probably end up walking about 3/4 of a mile total from the area that they want you to come in to bag check to the corrals. It's quite a bit of walking. So I don't know if you need to get there 2 hours before, but I mean, I usually get there not long after it opens, because I would much rather just sit there than have to rush. Because I've done it both ways. Rushing stinks. It's horrible to have to rush. So. Dominic says, as long as Elliot grabs the bottle within the designated aid station area, it's legal, and every elite can bring their own bottle guy. It's just to keep control over the bottles 24/7. That makes sense, and that way no one can accidentally knock over your bottle, which we've seen happen at races before. But I always just thought that the world record rule was it has to come from a stationary object, like a table. I didn't know it could be handed to you. I mean, I've seen people handing it, to athletes. So I was like, I guess that's not the rule. But I always just kind of thought the rule was technically that you had to be on the table. But yeah. Sean says, I want running outlets to cover Tigis Assefa more. We've all heard the Kipchoge praise, and it's well-deserved, but her story deserved to not be overshadowed. I mean, she ran a 2:15. Right, 2:15. That is crazy. That is just really wild. I can't even imagine that. And then like I think the entire women's podium broke the women's course record over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken, if not the top 4. Because I think she came in at like 2:15 something, right? And then I think numbers 2 and 3 and 4 all came in with it and the 2:18 mark. So, I mean, that's 4 people all under at least the American record. And Kira D'Amato came in 6th. She picked off a couple of runners at the end. So, I mean, an incredibly fast race, an incredibly fast day. I really wish we could have seen a healthy Sarah Hall to see what she could have done. But she pulled out like 2 weeks ago. But yeah, it was definitely a fast day. I think that for at least my Twitter feed, Berlin Marathon took a lot of flack for its yet another year of poor coverage of the women's race, which at this point, I'm like, think about all the people that are on bikes on that course and how like crowded that course seems all the time in terms of like race, like permitted people to be on the course alongside the runners. Like the fact that we can't, like, if Flow Track is doing a stream, why can't there just be a second stream of like, if you want to watch the women, click here. If you want to watch the men, click here. If you want to watch the two side by side, click this. I mean, it just should just be like that so that we can watch and see what Kira D'Amato is doing the entire time and how she's picking off runners. That's what I want to see. But yeah, it was. I don't know if part of it, like, I mean, no one's mentioned it, and I don't read like Let's Run or any of the other like running message boards. But I mean, are people concerned because this is her second marathon and her first marathon was a 2:34? Is that right? Earlier this year, so it's a substantial increase, which is not by itself problematic, because maybe the first time she just really didn't have it figured out, and now she's run one and she dialed it in and had really great weather conditions. Clearly it was world record racing weather, but I don't know if that's part of the reason or if it's just because like everyone's fawning over Kipchoge. I don't know. Anna says, like, if UTMB can give good female runner coverage in that terrain, why can't a marathon major? I mean, I agree. And I feel like UTMB has, like, basically thrown down the gauntlet and said, like, this is the standard, at least, where you have to be able to, we can do it. There's no excuse for others not to be able to do it. Except for maybe, like, there's cost for sure. So, like, Quad Cities Marathon, maybe there isn't, a chase car for the women, but for Berlin, yeah, it should be. Yeah, Adam says, like, she was a 54-second 400-meter runner and an Olympian, a 1:59 800 meters. So it's not like she came out of nowhere. And I think she's the only one to run, I forget who cited the statistic, only woman to run under 2 minutes for the 800 and under like 2:20 something for the marathon. It was like, she's like the fourth person ever to do it, or maybe something like that. I don't know. Bizarre. I mean, just the numbers themselves are pretty impressive. All right, last one. We're gonna go with some cherry, and then I gotta get going probably because I haven't gotten my run in yet today. Smells like a very mild cherry flavor. Tastes like a really good cherry fig bar, but not like a cherry pie. The sweetness isn't quite there. And yeah, I'm getting a lot of that nutmeg flavor or whatever it is that was in the apple pie. But it's just not, it's more like a granola bar. Still really good, and I would love eating this in the middle of a long day on the trail, so that'd be fun. Tom says, if I don't get a run in by 6 a.m., it's not happening. That's typically the case for me. Not 6 a.m., but if I don't do it in the morning before live stream, I'm usually not going to get it done. But today, I'm in the taper, so it won't be as long a run. Normally, I'd probably shoot for 10 miles if it was a regular training week. I might do 9 or 8 today, so keep it nice and simple. So, Sean wants to know, where can I buy these? I bought them at the feed. I need to reach out to the feed and see if we can get you some, get everybody some discount codes. Yeah, because I don't have any relationship with them, but I've been buying all my stuff from them. Especially like they do, like you could do like a 12-pack mix of Martin gels. It's the same price as regular Martin. So it's like you don't have to buy 2 boxes if you want regular and caffeinated. You can just buy 1 box, $50, which is a lot. 6 calf and 6 regular. I like that. Eric says, you don't need to reach out to the feed. The feed finds you. And Dad Runner Around says the feed needs to sponsor Co. Well, I mean, I think that we could. I mean, we can find a mutually beneficial relationship. Brett says, "Co, I blame you for all the money I spent at the feed. You know what? Are you eating good though? You know, you're fueling well, you're running well. It's money well spent, I think. I mean, I shop there all the time. I just got 2 orders of stuff in. So, Sean Marshall wants to know, what's the favorite flavor? I'd say I'm gonna have to go with the what was the first one I had? Blueberry. I would not have picked it, but blueberry was the favorite. I feel like it tasted most like pie. The filling was good. It tasted like it wasn't too tart of a blueberry. And then I think maybe the blackberry or apricot was my second favorite. So there we go. All right. That's going to be it for today, guys. Tomorrow I won't have a video, but I will see you guys for live stream. Let's play a game. I'll think of something for us to do tomorrow. Same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully I'll see you then. Until next time, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.